Hello, today we are going to make Blue Apron. It is sweet pan cheesy Italian chicken. There's a list of the ingredients, and on the back there is the instructions. Okay, so I'll show you the ingredients laid out and you can see. So here are all of the ingredients. We have boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I believe it's about a half a pound. I think there's 2 in there. We have hot chili in a packet. We have Fontina cheese that I get to grate. I have 1 balsamic marinated cipollini onion, and you can see it's in there, still sealed. There is 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. We have 1 ounce of mayonnaise. We have a package of panko breadcrumbs. We have 1 package of Parmesan cheese. We have our vegetables. We've got small potatoes and 1 red bell pepper. They've been washed and dried. We've got salt and pepper and some olive oil. I think what you will need a knife. You will need a cheese grater. If you don't have a cheese grater, that's okay. You can just use a knife. A cutting board. And I always like to have a spare bowl to put in any trash, stems, seeds, what have you, just so that it's a lot easier to throw it away and you don't have a mess. Okay, so the first thing it says to do is preheat the oven to 450 degrees. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, while that's preheating, it says to wash and dry the produce, which I have already done. And so the first thing I'm going to do is to cut the potatoes. So what it says to cut the potatoes into 1/2-inch rounds. And I'm just estimating. I don't think that it's important that they're exactly 1/2 inch. I think you can just eyeball it. Be careful. And even if they are a little thin, potatoes are always very forgiving. That's one thing I love about potatoes. Okay, so I have my cut potatoes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put them in the bowl. Like this. And the next thing it says is to cut off and discard the stem of the pepper, which I'm going to do. And this is where my trash bowl comes in handy. Oh, it smells really good. And it says to cut it in half and then de-seed. And if there are a few seeds left over, that's okay too. And then it wants me to cut them crosswise into 1-inch pieces. So I'm a little confused by that, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and follow the picture, and it just shows thin slices. So we have our bell peppers and we have our potatoes. And then it says to roughly chop the onions. So I'm going to go ahead and put the peppers in another bowl. So they're in a bowl by themselves. Okay. So I'm going to open this package of, I believe it's pronounced cipollini onion, and it's just one onion. It's marinated in balsamic vinegar. Oh boy, that smells really good. It smells like very sweet onion and balsamic vinegar. I'm gonna put this in my garbage bowl. And a rough chop, I'm just gonna go ahead and slice it in half again, and then just sort of, like they say, rough chop it. I don't think you could get much rougher than that. So there's that. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that in another bowl. So now it wants me to grate cheese. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse off my cutting board really quick, and I'll be right back. And I'm going to use a clean hand towel to dry off. And then, so that it doesn't move around so much, I'm going to place the towel underneath the cutting board. Alright, So I have it says to use a box grater, but this is what I have. So we're gonna make the best of it. And I have fontina cheese. So I'm gonna tear that open. Okay, cheese. So here's the cheese, fontina cheese. Sorry about my cat. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead. I think that the trick to grating cheese is to keep your hands the furthest away from the grating as you can. I have to be honest, I haven't grated cheese in a really long time. But it is the best way to buy cheese, is buy the block and then grate it yourself. It stays a lot fresher that way. And fontina cheese, it feels a lot like white cheddar in the fact that it's kind of soft. So just be careful when you're grating, because it's a little sticky and you could, I just don't want you to hurt yourself. Okay. And I'm only gonna get down to the last little bit, and I think that that's gonna be okay. All right. And then make sure to get the other side. There's always some left over. Okay. So I'll go ahead and put the cheese grater away. I don't need it anymore. So now we have all of our cheese grated. And so it says in a bowl to combine the grated fontina, which I'm gonna do. And it says to add the breadcrumbs. So we have here. And then it says to add mayonnaise. There's the mayonnaise. And I'm gonna go ahead and use the scissors again because I guess I'm not very good at ripping plastic. Just squeeze it in there. Every little last bit. Okay. Empty. And then half of the Italian seasoning. So this is how much there is. So I have to determine what half is. So I'm just gonna eyeball it because I don't think cooking at home should be a exact science. So let's see what we have left. I think that's about right. Yeah, I'm gonna reserve that for later. And then, this is the part that I love. It says to, the chili paste, it says to add as much chili paste as you like depending on how spicy you like it. Well, I tend to like it pretty spicy, and I'm gonna go ahead and add the whole thing. So this one I can peel easily. Okay, so I'm gonna pour this vinegar or squeeze it. Okay, so yep, it's red. I thought it might be. It's red. It smells really good. Okay. All right, that's good. And then it also says to season with salt and pepper. So I have salt here. You never want to add too much salt before cooking because it always gets saltier as you cook, and you can always add more salt later. Here's some pepper. I do love black pepper, and I'm just going to add a little bit of that too because, like I said, you can always add more. You can never take away. And then I'm going to stir it. So let me grab a spoon. Hopefully this isn't too loud. Oh, it smells really good. I'm excited. It's mixed thoroughly, and I think that that's good. Okay. So I'm gonna put that aside, and what it wants me to do is to start the chicken and potatoes. So what it wants me to do is I can move this out of the way now. I don't think I need this anymore. So what I've done is I've pre-lined a baking sheet with foil, and you don't have to. It doesn't say to, but I find that it makes it for easier cleanup. And I just feel like it maybe cooks a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. So, it doesn't say to use this either. I'm kind of being a little wild here. I'm gonna use some spray. Also, it's just easier and I do like it. Okay. That should be enough. And now it wants me to combine the potatoes with olive oil, salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just use probably about a tablespoon, not too much. That's probably good enough. And then I'm gonna use some salt. And potatoes, like I said, they're very forgiving, and they do require a bit more salt than most things because they don't really have much saltiness on their own, and they do really well with salt and also pepper. And you can always add more. Okay. And then I'm going to use the rest of the Italian seasoning that I have left. About half, I think. Okay, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and sprinkle that on there. Put that in the trash. I'm gonna rinse my hands one more time because I'm gonna be using my bare hands to mix this. I'll be right back. So my hands are thoroughly washed. I'm just gonna get in there and mix them all together. Make sure to get the oil because it tends to sink to the bottom. So just make sure you grab all of it. And if you see any clumps of herbs, or just try to spread them out a little bit. You see any empty spaces, try to just grab some oil and herbs and coat them all as best you can. And then it says to arrange them in an even layer on the pan. So I'm gonna move this over. I'm gonna use my clean arm, and we're just gonna go ahead and lay them flat like this, just in a little pattern. Doesn't really matter. You can be artistic if you want to. You can make a happy face. Okay. They look nice and evenly coated. Should be very tasty. Okay. And then the last two. It's a good measure. Just blotch them with the leftover oil. Because why not? Use it like a stamp. Alright, so after this we're going to do the chicken. So let me just rinse the bowl out. I'll be right back. The next step is the chicken. So I already have a plate ready with a paper towel on it because it wants you to blot the chicken dry. Okay, you can see that there are two in there. And what I like to do with packages of meat like this is they usually come sealed in a saline solution or some sort of a juice, and I just like to use the bag to drain. So I'll do that. So take one out, put it on the paper towel, and then you take the other one. Did I say saline solution? I think I meant salt solution. Okay, so we're supposed to blot this dry. Nice and dry. And just turn this over. And the other side is dry too. That's my little trick. And because I handled raw meat, I'm gonna wash my hands one more time. Okay, so it says to season with salt and pepper on both sides. And turn them over. the next step is to add them to the side of the pan, like that. In fact, I would like them to go the same way because I would like them to cook sort of the same rate. And then I'm going to be roasting that for 10 minutes and we will take it from there. Okay, so after 10 minutes, this is what we have. Obviously the chicken is not done and the potatoes are getting there. And while I was waiting for them to cook, I did the dishes. That's just one of my little tips. When you're waiting for stuff to cook, just clean. It's just easier and, you know, you're waiting around. So, the next thing that we need to do is we need to, the peppers that we cut earlier, we need to drizzle them with olive oil and salt and pepper. So, let me just get this out of the way. Okay, so we're gonna use olive oil. And I would say maybe a teaspoon, not very much. We already have enough oil that's already on the pan. And then also salt and pepper. And then just toss the coat, which I assume means that. Yeah, that's actually not doing a bad job. I like that. Okay. So it says to evenly spread the peppers on top of the potatoes. That's what I'm gonna do. So. I'm assuming that this is because potatoes take a lot longer to cook than peppers, and you don't want evenly cooked potatoes and burnt peppers. Just seems. I'm no scientist, but it seems like that's why. Okay, so I put the peppers on top of the potatoes. Okay, so let me get this out of the way. I need my hands off because it gets so this mixture that we made a little bit earlier with it was fontina, breadcrumbs, mayonnaise, Italian seasoning, and chili paste. With salt and pepper. So what we're going to do now is we are going to put the topping on the chicken. So let me get a spoon. I have a feeling this is going to be really, because with all the cheese, it's going to be very melty. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay it on top there. And it's okay if the spoon touches the chicken. It's partially cooked, and it's going to cook all the way through. Oh boy. We'll see what happens. Seems like a lot of topping for 2 little chickens, but okay. I'm just following the directions. We'll see how it works out. Okay. I'm gonna have to pick that up. Alright. Just coat it as best I can. See, right here. It doesn't seem to want to stick very well, but I just, you gotta sometimes just trust the cooking process. Okay. Alright. So, I have to return it to the oven for another 10 to 12 minutes, and we'll see what it looks like when it comes out. Okay? I'm really excited. Okay, so the timer just went off, and I'm gonna take it out of the oven. Let's see how it looks. Oh. Wow, that looks fantastic. Okay, so once the dish is cooked, it says to, well, I guess I'm supposed to plate it now. All right. Here's our plate. Kitty cat smells it. I guess it smells pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna use a spatula. And always make sure to protect your hands. And then the onions that we cut earlier, just use as a garnish. So I'm gonna go ahead and just sprinkle a little bit on there. And Parmesan cheese. Parmesan. Use the scissors again. And sprinkle on there. That looks really good. Okay. Now let's see. All right. This is the test. How good is it? Let me get a fork and a knife. All right, here we go. A bit of chicken, onion, potato. It's probably pretty hot. That's really good. Oh my goodness. Wow. This is sheet pan cheesy Italian chicken with vegetables. It's quite good. And yeah, that's my dinner. And thank you for watching my video. And this is Polly, and I will see you next time. Have a good night.